Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're here with the High Elves, and I do have it completely paused because we're up against the Beastmen, and as you can see, they've got a massive Vanguard deployed force here, so you can bet the battle's going to kick off in a big hurry here. So I wanted to pause it while I went over the army compositions, just so that we could talk about everything. I did show off a Beastmen versus High Elves replay recently, where I was playing as the Beastmen, and I kind of shared my thoughts on what's good to bring as the Beastmen in that matchup. Let's talk about the reverse side of things. So how about the High Elves? I'm not 100% certain. Don't take this build as like the best build in the world, but this is something I found to be effective. So we'll start with the front line here. We've got a spearman on each flank, of course, because they have very high melee defense. With the martial prowess active, they actually have 50 melee defense, and you know, most Beastmen infantry is going to be relatively poor. Goreherds do have 40 attacks, so they'll make decent contact. Spearmen are a very good defensive unit. We've also got some white lines of trace to help deal with Bestigor, and just to be a nice armored anti-infantry unit. To anchor the center here, we've got a unit of Phoenix Guard, which are going to be great against the Beastmen. They are very expensive, but they've got physical resistance, expert charge defense, so even against infantry, they will not take any charge damage. They've, of course, got heavy armor-piercing anti-large and excellent all-around combat stats. They're going to be very good against things like Minotaurs, Gorbals, any of the above. Very strong pick in this matchup. Beastmen are also relatively weak to missile fire, so I've got 4 Lothern Sea Guard. No shields on these guys, just because you generally don't see a whole bunch of Ungor Raiders. My opponent does have 3 in this matchup. But overall, it's, you know, Beastmen are relatively weak to range fire. These guys have got a spear in case they get, you know, jumped by a Minotaur or Centaur or so on. So they're going to be very good in this matchup. Out on the flanks, I've got 2 units of Dragon Princes. These guys have physical resistance, excellent charge bonus of 80. It's absolutely devastating, 110 armor. And, you know, Beastmen, they do have some tools to deal with heavy cavalry, but generally they take a lot of shock damage due to their low armor, so Dragon Princes are a good pick here. I've also got a Flamespire Phoenix to drop its Flaming Phoenix Feces all over the Beastmen, which again, good against low armor targets. Fear and Terror is also going to be very strong here, so the Beastmen are relatively weak to terror. Their units all do come with a baseline Frenzy type of mechanic. The Beastmen army-wide buff Primal Fury, which is similar to Frenzy, gives immunity to Psychology, but once that drops off, they are susceptible to terror routing. So, very fun stuff. And I do have Tyrion leading the army here. He's got Sunfang as well as the Heart of Averlorn. Or, no, I actually didn't. Oh, yes, I do have the Heart of Averlorn. Basically, it just gives him a life-saving burst of healing if he gets really low on health. Basically, just like, you know, extra insurance. Sunfang, of course, is great against low armor targets, which, again, Beastmen have lots of. For my opponent's build, of course, heavy Vanguard force, front line of Ungor herds. These guys are going to suffer pretty badly to almost all of the High Elf infantry. Even Spearmen will probably beat them one-on-one. He's got some Centaurs with great weapons, Centaurs with throwing axes, Gore herds with shields, 4 of. He's got 3 Ungor Raiders and some more great weapons and throwing axes Centaurs out on this flank. So, it's going to be a very fast battle. But let's go ahead and kick things off. My archers are going to immediately open fire here, and it looks like they've actually got their sights set on Khazrak here. Of course, the Vanguard deploy Lord, but we're going to get them switched over and probably, hopefully, start shooting at these Ungor Raiders. Looks like they're opening up shots onto the White Lions here. They don't have heavy armor-piercing damage, but of course, White Lions don't have any kind of missile resistance, so I'm going to have my flank be fairly heavily compromised by the Centaurs here, but this is why you bring the Lothern Sea Guard. They're very durable against large units, and although they will take a lot of shock damage from a flank charge like this, they're going to be able to turn around and deal some pretty nice damage, especially considering the Centaurs don't have a whole lot of armor or melee defense. Over here, we got a crushing charge with these Dragon Princes. You can see they took quite a bit of shock damage from the Centaurs with great weapons, but we are able to beat back 2 units of them with Tyrion's help here. We are going to get a bit of a rear engagement here from the Centaurs with throwing axes. Looks like they're pulling up right behind to throw some axes, which is a great engagement. However, they are within charge distance, so I'm going to immediately proc charge speed and chase them away. But overall, the mainline fight is, as you can expect, going very heavily in my favor. The elite, you know, armored elfin infantry with very good melee defense and everything is just taking the Beastmen to task. Over here, this unit of Spearmen's getting a little bit low, getting some axes chucked in their back, but you can see the Lothern Sea Guard holding very well here for their cost, and this unit of Centaurs with great weapons actually getting routed off, so Lothern Sea Guard showing their versatility here. Very good unit. These Centaurs with great weapons are still fleeing away from the Dragon Princes, but although they are much faster than the Dragon Princes, and they are going to toss some armor-piercing missiles as they chase here, if the Dragon Princes are able to hit their charge speed, they will be able to catch up. So like here where they are stop microed, we're going to be able to catch them and pretty much finish them off. So we've got this other unit of Centaurs with great weapons here. You can see these guys getting routed off by that bowfire. Here in the center, this unit of Spearmen just continuing to hold like it should against all these low-tier Beastmen troops. Khazrak is the only one fighting alone here against the Phoenix Guard. Granted, the Phoenix Guard are taking quite a bit of missile fire from the Ungor Raiders, and although Ungor Raiders don't have the greatest AP damage, they do have 90 unit models, so they have a pretty good volume of fire, and given time, they will work through even a high armor unit like the Phoenix Guard. So we're going to bring the Phoenix itself down and try and rout away all these archers, but of course they have the Beastmen buff here, so this one you see where its leadership drops, then it's able to be terrified, but this one here, the leadership is still high. Once we start focus firing, however, with the Lothern Sea Guard, that'll change in a big hurry. You can see we're just trying to mop the scraps at this point. Balance power is fairly heavily in my favor. Tyrion's almost finished with cutting down these Beastmen here, so let's grab a little bit of cinematic action with Tyrion and his awesome Dragon Princess here, taking the Beastmen to task. Absolutely gorgeous. Man, the High Elves unit models, they definitely did them justice. They look absolutely beautiful. So it's going to be a loss for the Beastmen, quick and dirty. I don't necessarily, the all Vanguard thing is more for fun, so I don't think my opponent really took the most competitive army here, but it definitely was a bit of a surprise, and, thankfully I was able to react in time. There are some maps where you can fully Vanguard deploy behind your opponent. In that case, bringing this all Vanguard Beastmen thing really, really works, especially like you bring your main infantry line behind them, and then you bring your mobile units up front, so they're still going to have to account for these mobile units. Usually they'll leave some of their main line here, which then allows you to immediately just collapse into the back line, and I've had some good success with it with Beastmen and Gobos, but unfortunately on this map you can't fully deploy behind your enemy, so in this case he just ran up straight up the pipe and definitely paid the price for it. See, Khazrak has broken through the line here and getting in on these Lothern Sea Guard, but Tyrion's definitely not happy about that. He's coming to save his High Elf brethren here, going to be able to finish off the Beast Lords, so well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that Beastmen versus High Elves battle. Just a little bit of, back and forth in this matchup. It's definitely one of the more interesting matchups in my opinion. I'm having a ton of fun with it. So in terms of army breakdown, you can see the Lothern Sea Guard really paid for themselves here, fending off those Centaurs, doing a ton of damage to these low armor infantry. Really excellent units in this matchup. Dragon Princes, 129 kills and 3 chevrons. They really took those Centaurs with great weapons to task. That's what the physical resistance will do for these guys. Although the Centaurs have heavy AP, the physical resistance helps them hold out in that fight. Definitely took a lot of damage, but paid for themselves, no doubt. Flamespire Phoenix, 60 kills, and the Terror was key in some points of the battle. 32 kills on the Phoenix Guard. Didn't get a whole lot, but, just kind of held. White Lions doing very well. 104 on Tyrion himself. For my opponent's army, just really lacking the kills all the way across the board. And like I was saying, the all Vanguard thing's more of a for fun type deal. So this isn't necessarily the most competitive build, but if you were to bring some Bestigore, you definitely want one Gorbel. Lore of Death is really good here for the Beastmen, or Lore of Wild. Both of those have really good magic damage options, which can potentially weaken up the High Elves, drop their martial prowess before you get into melee combat, which is very key. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.